To extreme places. I should know. I'm sitting next to these two every week. This week, the Tories pledged to protect those who use self-defence to protect themselves, and the issue has been at the centre of the courts in the case of Munir Hussain. While the heavy violence he used on a burglar was thought to be understandable by many, could the judge's clemency contribute to a dangerous culture of vigilante violence? Or are the stories of have-a-go heroes proof that there's a positive way for the public to deal with crime? As the right to fight back sparks headlines again this week, we put self-defence in the spotlight. As Munir Hussain walked free from prison yesterday, many called it a triumph for common-sense justice. Imprisoned for a violent attack on the knife-wielding man who broke into his home, the Lord Chief Justice called the case one of true exceptionality, and Hussain was clearly relieved at the new suspended sentence.
Thank you all the media, the whole country for supporting us while we were away. That support has been very comforting.
But the judge's act of mercy has reignited debate about homeowners' rights and vigilante action. Boris Johnson was hailed a hero last year by chasing a bunch of muggers with the iron bar that they had dropped, and the Tories promised greater protection for those who tried to stop criminals. But some judges say the Hussain ruling demonstrates that the current law works, and Justice Secretary Jack Straw insists that new legislation isn't needed. So, should self-defence in the face of criminals be sanctioned, or will such legislation be taken too far? Now, as I was saying earlier, ours is a simple's life. What could possibly go wrong on a live programme? What's gone wrong is that Lady Sovereign's done a runner. She took one look at Michael and Diane and disappeared down Downing Street way. If anybody sees her in Westminster, tell her we miss her and for her to come back. I just hope she's good at self-defence. It's dangerous around these parts. Self-defence, should the law be more on people's side that fight back when they're faced with criminals?
No, I think probably not. But I think the law is now in a nonsensical position, because when one court puts a man in prison, was he put in for 27 months?
Yes.
And the next court lets him out. There is something very weird about this, isn't there?
I don't think that's weird. They're
no,
saying he has committed a crime, but in the light of his good character and the fact he has spent time inside, they're suspending the sentence.
Why couldn't the first court say that?
Yeah, why didn't the first court do that, Dan?
Because
that would have been a more sensible
Because
thing.
the law is the law. Because it wasn't self-defence, it was hot pursuit. And the man he battered ended up with permanent brain damage. The law...
Well, that's the
but
line.
In that case, why is he out?
Not so...
because of his
not so
exemplary
permanently
character.
brain damaged that he couldn't then go on and commit other crimes.
Yes, but we have a law of... You are allowed to use self-defence. Ken Starmer, the DPP, said that he gets cases where people have attacked burglars and he doesn't prosecute because he understands they used reasonable force.
I don't think the law necessarily needs to be loosened, as it were, because it is clear that in this case Mr. Hussain has been allowed to go free after a short time in prison. But I do think there is a problem when two courts reach such different decisions. I mean, so what are we to assume now, that this is kind of OK? Or
it seems almost kind of arbitrary, doesn't it? It's the luck of the dice.
I don't think that's fair.
And surely public opinion has had a powerful impact on the second court.
Both courts are in agreement about the law. The issue is sentence. They both agree he broke the law, and he did.
Isn't it broadly the case that if you come into my home wielding a knife, tie up my family, threaten my family and me, you've kind of lost most rights?
Hold on to the British legal system, you haven't.
No, but I'm asking you whether that should be the case.
Well, that's how people feel. But the law can't just reflect... No.
Are they wrong to feel
you
that?
have to have rule of law. You have to have rule of law. You just can't batter someone to death because they've upset you by trying to burgle you.
But the reason people, I think, do this is because they have no confidence whatsoever that the law will punish these people. If these people who had done a dastardly crime and might have gone on and done much worse, if they had been caught and prosecuted, I mean, who knows whether they might have ended up themselves with suspended sentences or whatever. People have no trust that criminals are going to receive a proper punishment for a heinous crime.
Well...
Final word to you, Diane.
People are in love with that Charles Bronson thing, the Terminator. Actually, we have to have the rule of law.
Yeah, but that's where he just goes out in the streets and picks off criminals. That's a different matter.
I hope so.
The movie wasn't called The Terminator, by the way. It was called Death Wish.
I'm not a Charles Bronson fan.
That's not a good answer to the fact that you got it wrong.
The Terminator was the governor of California.
Thank you. We're both correcting Diana, because it takes both of us to correct her, you know, every now and then. Who needs Lady Sovereign?
Yeah.
Who is Lady Sovereign?